So let's bring in our political panel. We're joined today by Melanie Collette. She's a former vice chair of the New Jersey Federation of Republican Women and the host of Melanie Talk with Melanie. Money Talk with Melanie, excuse me. And then we're also joined by Theron Bond, who has a new look today. All right, I see you. Theron Bond, she's a Democratic strategist. Don't think I wouldn't have noticed now, come on.
Both of you ladies looking lovely, and appreciate your joining us this morning. I just want to pick up where Craig Shirley left off, Melanie, with respect to Jimmy Carter's legacy and his life. I do want to talk about the many differences. Some do compare his legacy to Joe Biden, but as Craig Shirley mentioned, there is a difference here with these men as to their morality and where they stand even today. So Joe Biden just came out yesterday and was asked about Jimmy Carter's legacy and how Donald Trump could learn from it. And ironically, he said that President-elect Trump could learn from Carter's legacy because he's basically decent, and insinuating President-elect Trump isn't. I think it's just so ironic that he's saying this, especially as we are now seeing pictures surface of Joe Biden standing with Hunter's Chinese business associates in newly resurfaced photos, and all the ways in which Joe Biden is cementing his legacy in the last few days. I mean, could you speak to this?
Certainly. I actually think that, pardon my voice, I actually think that Joe Biden politicizing the death of a president speaks to Joe Biden's level of decency. Of course, it is inevitable that you're going to talk about presidencies, but to take the opportunity of the passing on of a president to launch a personal attack on the incoming president is an indecent act in and of itself. So it is very ironic that he would talk about decency while in the midst of an indecent act himself.
Interesting. Melanie lost her voice before the New Year's party. Oh. Okay, all right. You're turning it up like 72 hours before New Year's. Got it. So, Theron, I want your take on this. Many people criticize President Jimmy Carter for his policies, but no one questioned his humbleness, his heart, and his honesty. I look at it as a second look at Jimmy Carter, similar to your second look now, when you're bringing it to First Edition. So the thing is that how do you think President Carter will be remembered? His post-presidency, all the good work that he had performed with his wife right by his side, whether you talk about the church, Habitat for Humanity, and all the other good work that he's done?
I think Habitat for Humanity is by far one of the most amazing works that Jimmy Carter and his wife, when she was living, were both a part of. It's a testament to his character and his level of humility. If only all presidents, after they have served, despite what policies and things that they promote during their tenure, it's what they do afterwards that matters most. After that power has been gone, when they return to, I guess, somewhat of a normal society or being a semi-regular person, what they do afterwards. And he's done a fantastic job of such. I'm actually not surprised that we have unfortunately lost him at this time. I think we know the older someone gets and they've been married a very long time, typically, they follow their spouse not long after. So I think once Miss Rosalind left this world, the time was starting to count down for former President Carter as well. But by far, he will be remembered for his humility post-presidency.
Yes, agreed.
Agreed. Well, let's pivot here. 3 weeks from today, President-elect Donald Trump will officially return to the White House. The ceremony coinciding with Martin Luther King Jr. Day, which is a wonderful, celebration, of course. But New York Magazine editor is upset. There's a commentary from the editor. Unfortunately, it's the same day as MLK Day that President-elect Donald Trump becomes president of the United States. I mean, your reaction to this, Melanie, and just talking about some of the similarities between MLK and Donald Trump.
Isn't it the same time every 4 years? Like, it's not like he chose for that to be the date. It's very irritating to me that this is even a conversation. But I will say that they are similar in the fact that they have made history over and over and over again. And I would argue that where the Republican Party is concerned, that he has brought more people from marginalized communities, coalitions together, much like Martin Luther King did, and looking at people as far as the content of their character and not the color of their skin, despite what the left will tell you about the man.
You know, Theron, I think America will lock arms together all the way from New York to California, Florida, all the way up to Washington and say, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last from the Biden-Harris administration. What say you?
I don't know. I think America is still split on that decision. I think there are some people who are going to be adamantly excited that President-elect Trump will be president yet for a second term, and there will be others who are very fearful of what that means for them, despite what background, what socioeconomic status they come from. What has to happen, though, is this is President-elect Trump's opportunity to set the tone for a second administration and truly make an attempt at unifying people in this country. But what is going to be most important, whether it's on MLK Day, whether it's 6 months later, whether it's 90 days in or 100 days later, or even 2 years in during the midterms, is that President-elect Trump has to do what he says he's going to do and unify people across this country. And if he doesn't, I expect that his party will hold him accountable in the same way that they hold folks of an opposing party accountable as well.
I think everyone is looking forward to President Trump implementing policies that breaks the chains and shackles that have been placed on America through Bidenomics.
Well, before we get to January 20th, we have to get past January 6th, which is the election certification day. And that's why this vote to secure Mike Johnson as House Speaker is incredibly important. And the way the situation is panning out right now, there still is conflict among Republicans. Congressman Mike Lawler warning the GOP about potentially removing House Speaker Mike Johnson. How do you see the situation playing out, Melanie?
I think Mike Johnson will continue to be the speaker, but I will say this for Republicans in Congress: cut the foolishness. We have seen this show before when they got rid of Matt Gaetz without having a plan. The certification of the presidency is on the line. We do not have time for this. And this is the exact thing that the American people can't stand about Congress and why they have such a low rating. So I think Mike Johnson will end up being the speaker, but I don't like that it's even a question at this point, with such critical things as the certification of the presidency on the line. I do not put it past Democrats to try to stop that certification. So I think they need to unify as soon as possible and get behind Mike Johnson. And hopefully that's exactly what they're going to do.
Well, Melanie dropped the F word on First Edition. I'll say it like my mama used to say, boy, stop that foolishness. And that's exactly what the Republicans need to do, just like you said, Melanie. Theron, but will some Democrats, in the spirit of Jimmy Carter, in the spirit of focusing on coalescing and making sure that we actually can start working together for the American people, do you think some Democrats will actually cross the line and vote for Speaker Johnson?
I'm going to err on no. But I need y'all to pick a speaker y'all can stick with.
Oh, yeah. So we're two countries now, or we're one house?
Speakers. Can we get somebody that we can keep through at least a set of 2 years?
It's okay, Theron. It's okay.
Just two.
I thought America lived in a one-family house, but obviously you want a two-family home.
I'm just saying, Democrats got a lot of issues, but maintaining a speaker when we're able to have one is not it. I just need y'all to keep one, because what that does is allow for consistency. And so not only do Democrats know who to go to, but also Republicans as well. When we have a speaker that's consistent, it sets a certain tone so people know exactly what to expect. We've got bigger fish to fry during the next 2 years and 4 years, and Republican infighting about who's going to be speaker is just not what any of us need to have happen. And certainly Marjorie Taylor Greene needs to sit her behind down, and somebody needs to put her in the corner, because every time she pops up dealing with this speaker mess, it makes y'all look.
Leave it to Democrats on MLK Day to say separate but equal.
Bringing the heat this morning, John. Melanie, Collette, Theron Bond, as always.
Theron.
Yes, great to have you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.